Welcome everyone. Today we have another new episode, and this episode based on entrepreneurships as well as educations. I think already World Talent Economy Forums, many of our audience know about digital Dhana. So Mr. Iftekhar, Dr. Sunita, they will discuss about that. We have our another new friend, Dr. Afzal. He will discuss about his business and his inspirations about entrepreneurship. And most important thing is that this is our 207th episode. Already we are tie up with 100 different universities from around the world. Even we are working with MIT, we are working with Stanford, as well as different university from USA, Europe, and Asia Pacific. So our major target, we want to develop a knowledge-based ecosystem. So Digital Dhana also doing the same things in India, and they want to reach around 1 million students. I'm sure already we shared this Digital Dhana advertisement with 3 different shows, and many of our friends, they're really inspired with your initiative in India. So I want to know more about this project from Dr. Sunita, Mr. Iftekhar, and our new friend Dr. Babur Afzal can share his entrepreneurial journey with us. Yes, Dr. Sunita, how do you want to introduce yourself with our speakers and with our audience, as well as your project about Digital Dhana?
Digital Dhana is an initiative of MIT Art Design Technology University as an education partner in connection with Metasocial and India Global team. And we, MIT Art Design Technology University, are very much proud about this particular initiative, and we would like to contribute in terms of the education partner as much as the platforms, as much as the training modules we can upload on this particular platform. We can make the availability of the sponsorship of this program. We can make the education programs available to all the students. That will be the efforts taken by MIT Art Design Technology University team.
Thank you. Mr. Iftekhar, how do you want to introduce this Digital Dhana project with our audience?
Yes. So what I would like to say first of all is thank you very much, Dr. Sharif, for all your support to Digital Dhana, first of all. And I have seen a couple of episodes where you are propagating this for us, and it is highly appreciated. I'm very happy that today Dr. Sunita Karad and Dr. Babar has joined us. We are all integral part of the Digital Dhana initiative. Digital Dhana, Dr. Sharif, is actually, the backdrop that we have all been actually hit from the blue, the bolt from the blue by the pandemic. And it has caused a huge amount of distress around the globe. So millions of students have actually suffered by it. Dr. Sunita, you're playing the...
No, I'm sharing the video, what I get from you. Yes.
Thank you very much. So there are about 300 to 400 million students that have been affected by this in the country. And as you know, that the internet connectivity, the infrastructure is not available with them. And we had to suddenly, shift to digital education. So there is a saying in English that it's better to light a candle than to crib about the darkness. So what we decided is, along with the India Global team, which is an Indian diaspora in America, Indians which are successful Indians, and Metasocial, which is our company that you are already aware of, which is working for the social purpose organization. And we wanted a very formidable education partner. So we approached the MIT ADT people. And then we decided that we will take up this onerous task, it looks like, but we wanted to take this audacious project and go and do our bit in the education world. So that's how the whole, initiative started. And then, Dr. Nikhil Agarwal, who is the convener of India Global, suggested that we call it Digital Dhana. Then in turn, I spoke to Sunita ji, and she was in America those days. But she picked up the idea, and she had, 50 people working on it. and quickly we put the whole team together. And as you know, we have just recently launched that, and we had a press conference about 10 days back. So that is how we have begun, uh, which also thank you for showing on the screen. So we want to reach about 1 million children by 2023, and we are working relentlessly on this.
Thank you, Mr. Iftekhar. It's really great initiative. And World Talent Economy Forums, we are actually knowledge-based platforms. We are working with different universities from around the world, different think tanks, different global corporations. So we also any point we can support your project from Asia Pacific. Definitely, as much as possible, we will do. We love, because according to World Economy Forum now, 1.8 billion people has problem with education. So online education ultimately the solutions. So what you are doing, this is really important right now in the COVID periods. Beside that,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Babar Afdal, you are famous entrepreneurs, and already we get chance to learn about your initiative from different famous newspaper and articles. So how do you want to share your entrepreneurial journey with our audience?
All right, first of all, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Sunita. I'm thankful, and Iftikhar, Mr. Iftikhar, what we are now working on is digital Dhana, and I think there's a lot of relevance to what is happening with this project in the current times. Uh, World over, we have seen, even before pandemic, education is a very strong area in which I have a lot of interest. What we have seen is that overall the structure and the anatomy of education is changing, and it was already changing. And if you look at the university structure or the school structure and the curriculum, they have a lot of internal challenges today. Why? Because there is a big shift that is happening within the education industry, and that shift is towards a digital trend, right? As we all know, what pandemic has done is actually it has fast forwarded the whole thing 30 years. If pandemic was not there, it would have taken 30 years for all of us to reach where we are now. Why? Because everyone is now geared up, the minds have changed, the way the educational models are changing. I think this would in any case have happened 30 years from now, but pandemic has fast forwarded this whole thing. So what I've realized is that education is now very module based. And when I say module based, I think this is the format in which it was supposed to happen eventually. As I was saying, big educational universities around the world from past 3-4 years, they are facing challenges in terms of getting admissions. Now, this is not. I mean, this is a trend. No one could stop, and that is why education became modular, and it is now the digital medium through which these modules are being served to students. So, going forward, now we know Elon Musk is talking about those neural chips, where you can actually download a subject and finally you're a doctor within a moment. So, when knowledge is being modularized in such a manner, I think there is something more. I mean, the challenge is far bigger in which this whole shift is happening. Uh, I have someone I know in the education field, Dr. Sugata Mitra. He was the one who got the TED prize. I mean, it was a $1 million prize for what he did in terms of the experiment. If you get time, you can search school in the cloud and granny in the cloud. So there are two models he proposed, wherein which are now working towards, education cannot have a formal structure, which means if you have digital mediums, anyone can learn. Now consider this in a country like India. When you talk about the way we have, our society is structured, I think, we know there is something called jugad. Now this idea of jugad is something which is inbuilt into the system, and this experiment actually points in that direction, wherein children who do not have any formal education were given a mouse and a computer-based training programs or neurons or something, and without any background, within a very small span of time, these children within these children who were playing in the village streets, within that in a matter of a few days, one child emerged as a teacher, right? One child emerges as a teacher, holds the mouse, and there is a classroom around that computer that automatically happens. And the absorption power of these children is comparable to any top school in the country, meaning that if education is being modelized, and if we understand where we are going, I think there is a lot of opportunity for India to become a superpower. Consider now, in this space, consider what Digital Dana is doing. Now, see, this is about enabling, it is about empowering something, an idea which is already there, an idea which is waiting to be discovered and harnessed. Now, Digital Nana plays a role where you see, if we are able to provide digital devices to children, irrespective of their educational background, I think we are cashing on a existing trend. Now, this is where I think digital data will play, and this is where I also come in and try to figure out, how we can actually execute this whole project, not only in India, even globally. So what I'm doing with Iftikhar and Digital Dana is that I'm putting a structure. I'm also what we are doing apart from these digital devices, which get donated from different parts of the world, and they're brought within India, and they're distributed freely to children across the villages, across towns. We are also working on a small idea which is similarly powerful, which is aligned to this digital device. So what is happening is that today we have curriculums, right? Children from grade 1 to grade 12, there is a curriculum, and this curriculum could be a CBSE, IB, any board in within the country. Now, say for example, if there is a science syllabus for grade 1, now, there are schools in India who do not even have classrooms. Forget about a laboratory. So, what we are doing is that we are putting a kit in place, and this is a science kit which is aligned to that syllabus from class 1 to class 10 initially, aligned to the syllabus. So, whatever science the child studies or is there in the syllabus, that box has a complete lab for the child. Now, when I say this, and what happens is with this, the child can take that box home, go through all these experiments on their own, and there is a digital content that helps the child to run those experiments. And we did a survey, and we realized it is not just the absence of labs or quality labs or cutting edge module based experiments which children today need. It is not just missing in the villages, it is missing in the top schools of the country. So we spoke to children, we did surveys, and we realized that this is something which is missing. Every child wants that. So what we're doing is we're doing two components. One is for these kids. These kids can take this laboratory in a box, and they can take it home, run their experiments in their home wherever they are. Second is this kit can also be taken by a government school teacher. If the teacher wants, they can use one kit to teach as many children that are there in the classroom. Then there is a third component when if a school wants that we set up a lab which has AI, which has 3D printing. So we set up a complete lab for these children in that school. So what happens is that science is not just limited to a syllabus, it is hands-on, it is something that the child enjoys doing. And this is a module that we are trying to put together along with these digital devices. So when this digital data, when a device is given to a child, there is a computer, there's actually a lab that also goes to the child. So consider this is happening in the same direction in which the global educational trend is going. So a little on my background. I started my career as a hacker. So I've been that is my background. So I'm a techie and an ex-McKinsey. So 20 years ago I started my career as a hacker, and I've been around the world. I'm a Silicon Valley techie, and I believe that it is not just technology, it is the technology mindset that the country is developing, and that is what we need. Technologies keep changing, and there is nothing permanent when it comes to technology. So what we drive out of this exercise is far bigger than this whole idea. So when digital Dana enables this, there is far bigger thing that happens. So we are looking at creating a mindset which is technology driven. I think that is the power of the country. And if we enable these children to think in that manner, I think we already created something massive for India. So a little
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. We have our another friend, Mr. Teja. Can you please introduce yourself and share your experience about entrepreneurships, as well as we have Dr. Tausif. He will share about startup entrepreneurship and this kind of experience with our audience. Yes, Mr. Teja.
A very good evening and good afternoon to everyone present over here. It is indeed a great honor to be, sitting in between such a eminent personalities, and all thanks to my mentor and professor, Dr. Sunita Karad, for allowing me to be here. So this is something very great that we all are discussing over here. I am an alumnus of MIT University and presently doing my master's in business administration from Army Institute of Management, New Delhi. So it's been 4 years I was associated as a student with MIT. And ladies and gentlemen, mark my words, it was a process of metamorphosis I went through in these last 4 years. Coming as a small child of 16.5 years and learning and evolving with respect to technology, with respect to management skills, and with respect to leadership was something that MIT has gifted me over here. Digital Dana, I'll say it is a great platform. See, what we do, especially for youth in India, we have everything in our minds. Like if you give us a book and you give us one night of time, we'll completely process it and write a full paper on it. But what when it comes to communication skills? What when it comes to interpersonal skills? What when it comes to holistic skills? Right? We are not able to express that knowledge. And talking about the underprivileged section of the society, sir, it is something basic of education is not being accessible to them. And now today in the world where everything is digitalized, what about those people to whom a simple book is not being accessed? So this is our initiative that MIT has taken up, and I have promised ma'am that we, along with few volunteers from an NGO named as Yash Foundation, we will be taking it further. Pardon me?
Yes, please continue.
Yeah. So this is an initiative that is, for rich people, everything has been accessible. But there are very few people, and I'm glad to be sitting amongst them, who are thinking about the underprivileged section. We, through an NGO which is associated with MIT University, are working upon youth empowerment, and that is through holistic development. This is very important to bring under your consideration that MIT has 2 dedicated institutes that completely focus on holistic development, one being School of Holistic Development and one being School of Corporate Innovation and Leadership. So it is an absolute pleasure to tell you that only I was a student BTech Food and Technology. Apart from my hard skills, these 2 institutes were instrumental to tell us the importance of leadership skills and importance of communication skills. And ma'am was a mentor always. She is like guiding us on every step. Anytime I go to her office, she'll prioritize students before anyone. And she'll, ask us to come in, and she'll get our whatever demand that we have, she'll get it sanctioned. And that was something that MIT has given us. So I am indeed it's a great privilege that we are being associated with such an event in which we'll be providing a platform to students from villages and underprivileged section through which they can access it. Ma'am was telling me that they had a proctored exam and there are so many students who are not being able to avail it due to internet. I'll say in last 2 to 3 years we have experienced an internet revolution. In India, sir, mind my words, we were very much happy with 200 MBs of data per day, and now 1.5 GB is not even sufficient. At this time of point, there are some villages where internet is still a luxury, where a laptop is still a luxury. So I'm sure this platform is going to help a lot. And even a single effort that I have learned this in MIT for sure, that even a single effort is appreciated here. And I'm sure this event will become a great success in time coming, and we surely will be instrumental in this great success. And I'll be thank you everyone for giving me a platform to talk over here. And I assure you that a youth support will be provided from my end as well as I can do, and from a team of motivated and enthusiastic students from NGO, Yash Foundation, and from MIT University, sir.
Mhm.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent,
Thank you.
excellent. It's
Right.
really good example, especially for the education arena. We are actually thinking that this kind of initiative we need more. We need not only in India, I'm sure,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
even in
Yeah.
Asia Pacific. We are working with TAF, Transdisciplinary Agora. They are highly like engaged with the African nations. So we find that around the world, this kind of initiative actually really important. I don't know why you target only 1 millions of people. It should be 10 millions of people, because now in the COVID situation, we getting information from around the world. There are many students have this kind of challenges and problem, and there are many rich
Absolutely.
people around the world. If they can support this kind of initiative, I'm sure. This will be a very great initiative, and we have many corporations, those who are actually looking for this kind of initiative. I request those who observing our show, you can support this kind of initiative. It will help a lot,
Sir,
especially.
I'd
Yes.
like to add one point. Our
Mhm.
executive president, Honorable Professor Dr. Mangesh Karat sir, told us that money
Mhm.
isn't everything. You know, if you have
Yes, yes,
money and you're not able to utilize it for others, then it's of no use. It's all
definitely,
materialistic thing. It's all
definitely.
materialistic. You won't take money
Yes,
with you. So utilize it
exactly.
for others, and you'll leave your mark in the world, sir.
Yes, yes. Thank you. So that's why I request those who different think tank, different corporations, those who working with World Talent Economy Forum, you should take this project seriously. So, Madam Shunita, you have a lot of experience in education industry, and especially you are also an engineer. Even we are actually adapting with this industry 4.0, and in that situation, we are observing, yeah, artificial intelligence and this kind of things integrated with the industry, as well as education has to adapt it this kind of thing, especially AI and different kind of technological aspects. So how your online educations actually help the youth to grow their skills based on modern market demand?
Uh, as compared to the modern demands, the MIT Art Design Technology University, we just in the online mode of education, we are very limited to this particular access. But during this pandemic situation, what we have done is that all our 10,000 plus students, whatever they are there, that students we have been continuously trained, and they are from the engineering, management, design, education, then broadcasting, journalism, and various other modes. For at MIT Art Design Technology University, we realized that we do not have the support of virtual labs. So virtual lab establishment is the situation where the world is at zero position. There are very limitless labs are available at my MIT ADT University. At the incubation center, I have taken this particular and I have undertaken this particular project of establishment of virtual labs with the team of the students who are interested in the innovation and eco forum. What I realized after considering this particular project into my hand, that for an engineering education of one degree, I am in a position, if I have a team of 50 students, I am in a position to complete the virtual lab solution for entire engineering degree curriculum of various branches, 6 to 17 branches we can accommodate. And that is the challenge. What we did is, it is like a my faculties were standing into the laboratories, and they were shooted, and they have shown the practical to the student. Some of the cloud computing, some of the lab solutions are installed onto the cloud, and the practicals are conducted for software labs. But this is okay, but where the machineries and the equipments are concerned, that equipment simulation is at zero place if we consider in all over the world. So this is the scenario. And nowadays, whatever the training modules are available, if you consider the training modules in very limited areas are available, like that about Coursera, Upgrad, the Berkeley Institute of Berkeley, they have their online technology programs. And now I'm launching this year one technology, 2 3 online technology program in collaboration with the in the field of project and construction management specifically. So very limited access is available, but we are very fortunate that we have a strong LMS platform available. At a time, my 10,000 students can see their lectures on the LMS, but if their connectivity is not the issue and connectivity is not the challenge, and we are able to manage the network of 10,000 students for the proctored examination at a time during the semester, whatever it is. So this is the capacity at now we have, and very limited programs are available. There should be a lot of potential is there, lot of good programs and modules are available for this at the school level, at the uh, at 11th junior college level, and at engineering and management. And the for example, if you consider the medical education itself, we need the world need to take a serious decision about it. I am talking because this is very limitless opportunity. I was in North Carolina for 2 months during this pandemic. What I observed, the same situation is there also. The situation at MIT ADT is quite better. The students are sitting at home. They are not able to submit their assignment. Assignments are coming, but everywhere the resources are resources which are in the hands of students, they are not 100%. But at MIT, fortunately, whatever has happened in during the 1 year, we have tried to upload almost 4,000 plus videos of the faculties for practicals, for more than you can say 10,000 plus video lecture series are uploaded on our LMS. That is what we are standing here. That's what I can say. But there is a lot of things need to be done. The at every stage, at every corner, every project of the education, every course of the education, you can say. Very limitless executive education at some of the institute is available. Do you have you think of the have you think of having the practicals on the simulation? Refrigeration practicals are available on the are on the monitoring. Is can the how the reading they can take of the practical experiments. So this is the actual situation, and I have observed only one Amrutanand University is there. They are having some of the things which are available, but they are also absolutely very, you can say, less than 10% level.
Thank you, ma'am. We have Dr. Tausif. He has a lot of experience about startup and this kind of initiative. So, how do you want to introduce your initiative specifically on Halal Angel Network as well as startup, Dr. Tausif?
Thank you, Dr. Sharif. Firstly, it's an honor that you are sitting with on the panel with your mentor and your guide. Iftikhar Pathan is my mentor, my guide, my guru. The first step which I took in the advertising industry. So it's a very honorable thing to be with him, actually. I've been at various panels, but when you sit with the guru on the same panel, it's a different feeling altogether. The joy is something else. So thank you, Mr. Sharif, and thank you, Iftikhar Bhai, for that 25 years ago, what you did to me. Thank you so much for that. So we don't look old after saying 25 years, but just a starting point to talk. Dr. Sharif, since the time I got involved into the startup industry, my first startup was with Lucky Ali, India's #1 pop star. We were doing celebrity websites in 1990s, and it became very profound, and I learned a lot. Then I moved to Gulf. I moved to America. I lived in London, and I've learned global entrepreneurship stuff. And I've focused my career now onto two domains, very specific. One is startups, and one is the halal consumer market. And somewhere they also intersect each other. So why startups? Because entrepreneurship is very important aspect of innovation, because entrepreneurs are fearless. And as Dr. Karad talked about, 2 years ago, I was invited by Rahul Karad and Dr. Gawane at National Teacher Conference at MIT University. And I spoke that, these days, as she was talking about lectures and everything, these days we have two applications on our phone. One is Google and one is WhatsApp. Majority of people spend time on WhatsApp. but the smartest people use Google search to build careers. So entrepreneurship now is at your fingertip. Knowledge is at your fingertips. So I tell people to use this knowledge to build your career. And last year we launched a program called Halal Angels Network, where we are not, halal doesn't mean anything related to Islam. It talks about ethical finance. And in that program, we launched a very interesting program called the Khatija Raziyantala Initiative. This is the world's largest women cohort program ever, started or established, where 1,001 women from different backgrounds come together and create a startup ecosystem. And to promote that, we are going to host post-pandemic in 7 to 8 cities across the world, and we're talking to different governments a red carpet to establish their startups and business. So this is what we are trying to do. And in India specific, we have started incubation acceleration center at minority schools because poor kids drop out of school. Can you hear me, Dr. Sharif?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
sir,
poor kids, the challenge comes is middle class kids, rich kids don't have a problem. But the poor kids and the poor community always has a problem. NGOs can't do much because, economic necessity makes the kid drop out of school. So we have created, incubation and acceleration center at 41 minority schools across the state of Maharashtra. And we are not only creating startups, which are, for example, multi-millionaire. We are looking at cash generating startups. And Hindustan Times featured us. And when the editor came, a very profound statement came from one of the entrepreneurs. She said, when I go back home, it's not only people giving me donation or people giving me loan to do a business. Rich people are my partners. So when I go back home, my kids feel very proud that poor rich people are my mother's business partner. So when you look at, you're from Bangladesh, when you look at microfinance has come to a saturation point. Angel network individual. So we are in a space where we handhold people and empower them that they are with successful people. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tausif. Mr. Iftekhar, one of the specific point always we face, and this is that everybody want to minimize the gap in between industry as well as Dr. Tausif. If you do not mind, can you please mute yourself? There is a noise. Sorry about that. Okay, Mr. Iftekhar, my questions to you actually, like always the academicians, we are trying to develop a like ecosystems and make a good relationship in between industry as well as academia. And industry said we do not get enough resources from academia. Academia says we need to make a bridge in between industry and this point. And every universities, even I'm in Malaysia, we are observing 100 different universities. They are struggling in this point. So what do you think your this digital Dhana projects, how they make a bridging in between academia as well as industry? And most important thing is that how they can fulfill industry requirements.
Absolutely. Very good question. That is something that all of us have been struggling with, Sharif. So what happens, in India, there are a lot of engineers. So we have too many of them, and the demand side, we don't have much happening for them. So about 64% of the engineering graduates don't get a job. And the 68% that get a job don't need an engineering degree. And after having employed them, the company has to then spend a lot of money to sort of, get them to be of use to the company. So the situation is pretty grave. So there are a lot of specific programs that today are running only to make sure that, the employability index is very high. So I think only way to do this is to start off the industry and academia partnership much early in time. It's absolutely what happens is people do it later in education. But I think they should start, young children should go into the industry much earlier than what they normally do. So that is one thing I definitely like to recommend as far as that is concerned. And project based learning, which is what we were talking the other day at the MIT ADT advisory board. I'm also part of the advisory board for the MIT University, and we were discussing this specific thing of how we can develop project based learning for children, because you are not taught a lot of things which are practical. Practically the life when you join in a management or maybe in a manufacturing setup, there are too many things that you are not taught in a classroom. So that real experiences definitely should come. The other thing I also thought is different geographies, there should be an exchange of students, which is something idea that I and you have also spoken, Sharif, where we should do a lot of student exchange program, and they should go to industries there. In fact, in the past, we have taken a lot of delegations to universities in Europe and in Australia. I've worked very closely with some of the important universities in Australia and also in France. And you'll be surprised, there is also an innovation center in Indian Innovation Center, because India, as you know, is known for frugal innovation. And the top three frugal innovations like cardiogram, solar system or things like that have been invented in India. So I think the gap, only way to reduce it, to have more interaction with the industry, do a lot of project based learning for students, and then reduce this gap. That's what I would recommend.
Thank you, Mr. Babar. So how do you want to introduce this point, and how we can take different kind of innovative initiative from industry? And example, in Malaysia, we saw that there is a Cyberjaya. Cyberjaya is very much similar to like Silicon Valleys, and there is a very strong ecosystems. How we can connect more ecosystem like that and create more job opportunity for this youth community, especially COVID period. Many of the people do not have job, they're losing their job. Beside that, many students, they cannot afford their education system because of highly expense and other things. They have to join in the jobs and other place. I think it's a more than millions of people, they are in trouble. So in that situations, how industry can help, and how we can make better ecosystem. Can you unmute yourself, please?
See, there is already a trend globally. In my initial bit, I shared that there's a trend that the education structure and that anatomy of education is changing. Now, what I mean by that is that really, if I have to go out looking for people who can work for me, what is it that I am looking for? I mean, obviously there are some soft skills, but trust me, I'm not looking for degrees. Now, this is something which is coming from even the top organizations around the world. So it is skill based. Now, as I said, everything the pandemic has done is like it has fast forwarded all of us 30 years from now. Now, 30 years from now, what would be the ideal position? What would be the ideal skill that anyone would need? We know, my bets are always on technology, personally, because of that background and a lot of things. But we know that how new technologies consider that work environments have drastically changed in the past 1 year. And now people have realized that there is a lot of cost cutting one can do by reducing the workforce, which means that the workers are being pushed back into their homes and into structures where they're only linked with the company through a technology pipe. Now, what I mean by that is that it is just the skill. Now, look at, if I am supposed to talk about what is that one skill that is like a futuristic skill which children should have, which anyone who's studying today should acquire, it is AI. AI and machine-based learning are the top skills ranked for the future. Now, what I mean by that is that there is a majority of thing that is happening around the knowledge that has been already created. We're creating content, and the world is creating content, and the amount of digital content being created every day is unbelievable. Over that is sitting something called AI and ML, meaning that look at the trend. Now look at the trend. people who are hiring are only concerned about what is it that you can do for me without coming to the office. Now, this would have happened 30 years from now, but pandemic has made that possible. Now we have started to think. The first thing that that AI, it has already started to happen in US. AI is replacing a lot of lawyers, meaning you can hire bots to plead for your case. Now this trend is happening. We already have seen, how many times do we go to a bank today? I mean, hardly, because there is ATM. You go with that, with your card, and with that card, you will, after opening your bank account, there's hardly a reason why you would go to the bank. That infrastructure is becoming irrelevant. Now, on top of that, you see digital currencies have come in. Now, digital currencies is another thing that has been created. It's like a digital, where we know that digital currency today is sitting on a technology called blockchain. Now, in that, banks and the banking system will become irrelevant. No one can stop it. And how soon that will happen, it's just a question of timing, but it will be irrelevant. The third thing that will happen is the governments will become irrelevant. Now, why do you need a government? You need government for control, you need government for policy, you need government to ensure that there is peace and everything, right? There's control. There are technologies in pipeline which will ensure all of that, and you do not need anyone. So understand, even things like policing will be taken care of by technology. Now, see, if you see one trend that is happening, and industry globally is adopting, we know the fact that wherever there is such a direction, the world follows. We could not stop cell phones. Everyone has a cell phone. Look at the penetration that we have in India in terms of the phone, and things like WhatsApp, messaging has changed, everything has changed. So when I look at this whole ecosystem, when I talk about the startup ecosystem, yes, there is a lot of structuring that is happening in countries, and the same structures are now coming in for places where we have frugal innovation. Now, all you need is that there is a link. Well, what I mean by that is the link between industry and academics. This is already something that is blurring. If anyone today is capable to handle a component of technology, I think the person gets hired. I mean, the education model is changing. So acquiring skills which are relevant to the industry, where the overall industry is moving, the direction in which it is moving, that is the only thing one has to pick up. And if anything that needs to be developed is that the organizations, corporations around the world, they do not have any choice. They're also moving in this direction. Academics, students around the world, if they are also made to move in that direction, there's a easy marriage that happens in that space. And I think there is a big divide that automatically gets eradicated. Why? Because if everyone is moving in the direction which the industry is innovating, moving, I think automatically there's a alignment that happens. And we catch this. How do we catch this trend? We catch this trend. Why? Because what was supposed to happen 30 years from now has happened because of the pandemic. So look at the positive of the pandemic. The way we are thinking, consider, would this seminar be possible? How many of us did know that something like Zoom existed before the pandemic? We did not. So now the way we have shifted and the way we are interacting, I think if the early adopters of all this are the ones who really make the kill. So this is the trend in which everything is going. And this really does not consider backgrounds. It does not even now consider, this is the equal playing field that gets created through this technology, that it really does not matter your degrees, your certificates, they're all irrelevant. If you are there, if you're doing something, if your contribution can really change, I think automatically things happen. And that is where the ecosystem is forcing us to all evolve. So where is this evolving? So the ecosystem within this change is forcing us to evolve in one direction, which is digital.
Absolutely. And that's why digital Dhana is so relevant today.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Dr. Tausif, there is a specific question from audience. he wants to know more how actually entrepreneur can reduce poverty. Beside that, he want to start startup, but he cannot because he is just claiming that government do not have enough facilities to develop this kind of startup. So you are expert on that particular field. So how do you want to advise this student?
Let me take the discussion forward from what Dr. Babar said. I built my entire career through the internet. When I joined along with Iftikhar Bhai, I pitched to the software industry on recruitment campaign. No advertising agency was pitching onto that. Okay, I was lucky. My first client was Infosys founder, Dr. Narayan Murthy. We launched this thing. So I'm I'm what you say evangelist or supporter of technology for a long time. But what Dr. Babar said, there are various aspects to it. Like when you look at the startup ecosystem of California, they're more into software development or structural design. But when you look at the Shenzhen model, which I'm actually studying very closely, in the Shenzhen model, what happened is China went into development of technology, manufacturing. Now, if I want to start a mobile phone company, I can just go to China, white label my mobile, put my software, and bingo, within a month, I can start my stuff, which was unbelievable years back. As he said, mobiles, everyone has it. But did we ever think we can start our own mobile company? With Shenzhen model, we can do that. Okay. It's not only the software development, because you got to fix it with the hardware. And the people who control the hardware is going to win, where knowledge is very limited. Coding, you need to sit, but coding continuously, you have to upgrade yourself. So if digital embracement of the society or progressiveness has to come, we have to use the Shenzhen model. In Shenzhen model, that's why, I was talking to some officials in Shenzhen. Every day, $6 billion are invested in Shenzhen. Even Silicon Valley doesn't do that. It's whether it's green energy, because if you don't have component, what the hell you gonna do with your coding? Because the hardware drives the code. I have a friend who does embedded technologies for future technologies. When I talk to him, like he's my childhood friend, he says the hardware is going to put everything else. Now we talked about chatbots and artificial intelligence. In fact, I had a meeting with we just signed up with a company in Singapore, and we were discussing about chatbots because the future of governance is chatbots. And when you look at previous Russian countries, which are like, Estonia, the governance is zero. The prime minister doesn't meet. You go to municipal corporation, there's no one.
Yeah.
With the software, you have to back up with the hardware. And as Dr. Babar said, blockchain and cryptocurrencies. 2 years ago, when I was putting my whole ecosystem plan, a gentleman introduced me on blockchain technology. And I said, blockchain is a high-end, coding. What is the low tech in that? And I saw the low tech into crypto mining. And so I went to Milan Kamleji, the founder of Dalit Indian Chamber of Commerce, and I said, in local language, I said, what should we do for our kids? They're coming and driving a taxi, they're distributing food, and there's no holistic, environmental issues coming up. Why don't we go to the villages, give them crypto rigs? They can make $1,000 in the villages. And what happens is if somebody generates $1,000 in villages, he will not only do that, he will buy solar panel, he will give back to Gram Panchayat, local municipal corporation, taxation, the carbon footprint comes down. So digital has to come. But the thing is, certain governments are reluctant on that. Like in India, we couldn't do it because JTLD was not making a statement on that. RBI was not doing that. So we had to drop that program. But believe me, if you Google search, the 28,000 news channels featured us that farmers, Dalits in India are going to do crypto mining. So when digital comes, we not have to look at the high-end coding. Like there's this company which is pushing kids to write code. I think you're taking creativity away. The kid could write, I'm a slow learner. I didn't do good at school. But when I went to high school, when I went to college, I flowered better. So if you're pushing too much at early age, you're killing creativity. And somebody like me who have dyslexia, he might be more demotivated, right? So in creative business, especially in coding, because I built my entire career in with the software industry, and I'm a strong believer. And now recently, I've been talking to a lot of German companies. In Germany, they only focus on technical education, and that's why they have $1 billion Mittelstand. Okay, that's a unique model they have. So the thing is, when economies are coming and COVID, now COVID only pushed the agenda for digitalization. But in America, 10 years ago, we were not even meeting up. We were doing everything on Skype. I hardly met anyone. I built my entire career on Skype in America. And when I came back 5 years ago in India, people saying, "How can you do that?" I said, "I'm done with my office. I just wear a coat up on my shirt. I wear shorts below, and I do my business." And most of these guys go to Starbucks. Like in America, we only do physical meeting at Starbucks. We don't even meet people anymore. Means 10 years ago. So digital has been coming, but the only thing is, I have a problem with digital is too much security, too much privacy issue, and too much of media talking about it. Like when the wheel came, we knew we'll drive an automotive later, right? We didn't have to push off, batteries there. The change will come. But now, thanks to COVID, everyone's talking on webinar. We got to push it. We got to push it. I said, relax. It's gonna happen. Like the way we took, motorcycle and bike. We evolved from a bike rider to a motorcycle rider, then to a car. Let it happen. If you put too much, then what will happen? Technology will not have come to security issues. Like look at WhatsApp now. Yes, WhatsApp is great, but now they're going to open it up to everyone. I used a software called Paytm 4 years ago. Okay, I connected my bank and my whole account got hacked. Because in India, there is no insurance when your account get hacked. In America, if my account gets hacked, I get entire money, up to $100,000 through FDIC. So when you're embracing technology, you have to back it up with some kind of government initiative or some kind of, what do you say, insurance behind it. Then embracement will happen. So the point here is, now coming back to startups, there's a fantastic movie by Shah Rukh Khan. It's called Race. There it says, "Ammi Jaan kehti hai, dhande se bada kuch nahi hota." That means when you do business, business is bigger. And luckily, I grew up in a Gujarati Marwadi neighborhood and a Punjabi Sindhi neighborhood. My father's side was in that, and they always breathe. And when I moved to America, I live in a Jewish neighborhood. They focus on business. Now, coming back, very interesting point in Islam. I'll throw some angle to it. The first ayat of the Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ikra bismi rabbi khalaq. Almighty is saying to read. But when you look at the relationship between education and work and job, there's no correlationship. Okay? And when you actually test this model, look at the big tech entrepreneurs, they have been dropouts. Okay? So the thing is, technology has made democratization of knowledge. It's easier to go on YouTube, pick up the stuff. I never knew anything about spelling bee till the time I started my spelling bee. I went to the net, I picked up the data. Okay, so internet has democratized everything. If I want to message our Prime Minister Modi ji, I can just tweet him. Years before, I couldn't do that, right? At least there's communication happened. And entrepreneurship is very critical because entrepreneurs create a whole economy. And that's what happened. Now, the challenge with South Asian startups, they are all copycats of America. Okay. And the other problem with startups from Southeast Asia, especially in India, I see most of these techie guys got a golden handshake from the companies. They go to Quora, Wikipedia, then they only talk what is the burn ratio, what is how much seed capital, what series A, series B. They are good for nothing. In fact, I'm writing a movie actually. Iftikhar bhai would be very happy. It's called Startup Ka Drama. All these mentors say I have trained thousands of people, thousands of companies, thousands of this. I have built multi-billion-dollar company, award-winning. I have got into so much of startup ecosystem that it's a big farce. It's a big drama. That's why innovation is not happening. And finally, I'll conclude. The father of Indian technology, Mr. Sam Pitoda, who created, the first vision of how information technology can happen. And luckily, he's based out of Chicago. So I was talking to him, like, when I started the blockchain stuff, I said, sir, like, I need your help. I'm doing this thing. He said, without even inviting, I want to be the keynote speaker. And the problem I see with all these outsourcing company, we had a vision to create product software from India, but outsourcing became so lucrative that we dumped it. India could have been a product company. Now, because I'd say the education system in India is a challenging stuff. Okay, the challenging stuff here is most of the teachers in India are not by choice. It is about majburi. They had nothing. Okay, and that passion doesn't rule. But if you look 1,000 years ago, Indian saints, Indian scholars, Aryabhat created zeros because they were passionate teachers. And the other problem I see, I've stopped teaching actually, the young crowd doesn't respect the teachers in India anymore. They're on WhatsApp. So a good teacher doesn't want to go and teach at a campus now. So what happens is, if I have to mentor privately or if I have to go and teach, there are challenges. Now, concluding, startups are very important, especially now there's a question from Bangladesh. Bangladesh economy is thriving. Reason is all those Bangladeshis outside the country pushed outsourcing of product companies, manufacturing of garments. And recently I saw a video. Now they're creating their own brands. They are not getting into the cheap manufacturing anymore. All those major brand manufacturers are creating their own brands. So there's a value evaluation. So first things first, a country has to devise a basic structure. Entrepreneurship doesn't need to be depend on the government. In America, the government doesn't give you any regulation, any support, anything on startups. So it's a level playing field for everyone. The other thing great about America is you pick up a phone and call anyone. They will talk to you. In India, you talk to a secretary. She doesn't let you talk. So that's why innovation or new ideas doesn't generate. And finally, if you really want to make money, don't run after investors. On other people's fire, you can't cook food. You have to be bootstrapped. You have to have an original idea or a better idea than the previous idea and run with it. And when you get money, don't go from BD smoking to cigar smoking. This is what happens with startups. The minute they get the money, they throw the money on their lavish lifestyle. So I rest my case on this.
Yes.
Good, Dr. Tasif. You actually touched on a lot of points. Well, interestingly, I also think in the same direction. I've been an entrepreneur. I've been a serial entrepreneur. I've raised over $50 million myself in a very short span of time. And I've been known for it. I'm a Silicon Valley techie, and I have worked with Chinese. I've been involved on a lot of boards internationally in terms of startups. Recently, I was also with Amitabh Kant on a couple of things. Now, I'll tell you, in terms of startups, now this idea of startups is very corrupted. You are right when you say that you need an original idea, but how do you get to the original idea? I would not, trust me, I like the idea when students do not respect their teachers. Do you know why? There is a monopoly being broken. This is where I'm saying, pointing out where the education model is shifting. Lot of I have, in a very little span of time, I've created more wealth than people who are in that business for decades. Do you know how that happens? That happens through technology. Now, I'll tell you, the understanding of technology is not that big an idea, but the mindset of technology and understanding entrepreneurship is a far, far bigger thing. I really very frequently, I meet a lot of entrepreneurs struggling with at a lot of levels. Why? Because they have a broken idea of startups. But trust me, at the same time, within India, we have the best entrepreneurs in terms of the startup ecosystem. And how do you come to an original idea? I mean, the only way today is you first copy. Now, why are these Bangladeshis doing what you're saying? They're white labeling now, they're starting their own thing. The reason they're doing it now because they have evolved. There is a reason how, and there's a structure and a model in which societies evolve from one layer to the other. So what Americans are doing and what India is doing, I mean, they're two different things. If you want to look at the similarities, it's a different mindset. But if you look at the differences, there is different mindset. Now, when you talk about if the cars are spoke about frugal innovation. I mean, that's a model which Silicon Valley adopts today. You talk about a structure. Now, how is democratization happening within the country, within the startup ecosystem? Yes. Do you know where is the biggest battle today? The biggest battle is there are investors on one side. They say, we have money, we will fund a startup. Now, I am on the panel of advocates who fight with the investors, tell them to get lost. Why? Because how can you control, how can you say that the startup is owned by you with only putting money? You cannot handle technology.
Absolutely. Very good point.
If you do not understand technology, no matter how great a business idea, you're useless. I mean, this is the equation where the world is today. If you have a brilliant idea and you have money, you are useless. You know why? Because when it gets down to be executed through a technology platform, you have these guys who practically own the idea. So who helped you translate a raw or a brilliant business idea, converting into technology usage of technology is something which finally at the end the team, which is a technology teams, takes everything away. Now, as a investor, if I have 4 technology guys who working on my idea, seriously, I'm useless. This is where the whole shift is happening in terms of where the startups are being. Why? Because you have to have guys not only with ideas but technology tools, and they should be hands on. This is where I'm saying, this is where software part is important too. And to my understanding, the software part is very, very important. See, translation of a business idea through the use of technology. Finally, tell me who owns the idea. I mean, there are big battles today happening within a startup where you have an investor on one side, and on the other side you have the guys who created the technology. Now the battle is, if the investor says that I own the idea, I mean, he's not 100% correct. If technology guys say that they own the idea, they're also not 100% correct. So who's correct? This battle finally will shift, and it will be skewed towards the people who are the technology guys. Why? Because they will always have an inherent advantage of taking anything on in that direction. So what I'm trying to communicate here is, yes, ecosystems and they evolve, societies evolve, and there's a lesson that that society gets, and then that is how they graduate from one layer to the other. And within that, there are losses, there are hits and misses happening at the same time, and that is the learning that we have. What I am also saying is that pandemic has played a very important role. It has played a key role in making all of us think forward. And this is why we're sitting at home without meeting anyone. We're running our businesses. Why? Because technology and people who have that forward thinking mindset, and who cashes on. Yes, I can wait 20 years to understand a technology, but if I have a mindset, if there's a group which understands, yes, there's a layer of technology that will democratize and that will change or break the monopoly, I think that is where everything is pointing. And this is where I think when we talk about digital Dhan, initially, representing digital Dhan, the reason why we feel that there's a layer that we can create through Digital Dhana initiative, where we bring this power into the hands of these kids, amazing. And when you give them this power, I think you indirectly democratize and you break a monopoly. You don't know what kind. And this is the equation which needs to be broken between teachers and students. If I can buy a module of science for 500 rupees, tell me how far can I hold the idea that I have to be in that equation of a Guru Shishya. And I cannot, how close this idea is to my heart, it will get broken. Why? Because education is being commoditized. I can learn, I can buy education. Now, so there are two things that are happening. One is that education is being modularized, anyone can buy it. But at the same time, the challenge is now multi-tier. It is a higher challenge because your understanding, the way you quoted the first verse of Quran, Ikra and read. I think it also points towards something that it is about the men of understanding. It is about correlations. I think that is where the opportunity is. If you can correlate two different pieces of knowledge, I think that is where AI comes in. I think that is where the brilliance comes in. I think that is the new set of entrepreneurs who will drive this world. I think that is. They are looking in that zone, and people who have the ability to look in that zone, I think, will be the ones who will lead from India or from anywhere in the world. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
in
So
connection.
just two sentences, Tausif, before you speak. So the gentleman who asked, do entrepreneurs, change the economics of a country? Definitely, there are two examples they should see. One is Korea, and the other is Singapore. That is extremely. That's a living example of what the entrepreneurs can do to a country. And I think very well said. And digital Dana, I think I'd just like to. I don't know if Tausif, you've seen what the campaign is all about, but you must see what we are doing in digital Dana. And we'd like to sort of, there are 18 million diaspora, Indian diaspora across the globe. So we're trying to reach them. And Sharif, you should help us. You already are
Definitely.
doing that, and you should take us to many
Yes.
more connections. Thanks.
Yeah,
Definitely. Definitely. Mr. Yes.
I just want to say something. Last year, I have conducted one fintech event, and then what I studied in that finance technology event is that the India is the country where more number of payment, users who have started the use of payment gateway mobile technology for the payment account and banking transaction. The India has crossed China, and India has also crossed the America. The Indian companies are having a lot of research work. They are much ahead nowadays. If considered into the IT industry specifically, the lot of research work progress is there in the country. Why I am talking this is that today I met one guy. He was from Career 360. You know that the Career 360 is for the education, and in that particular education forum, they have been assigned by the Google for their as a source partner by Google.
Mhm.
So whenever any hit is done by the candidate he is looking for any particular program on the Google, that source for India is been the career that source has been directly given to the Career 360. So that is how the technology trends are changing. I'm dealing with a lot of education portals all over the India, like Shiksha is there, then lot of other. So millions of children are visiting these kind of portals to know the information. I am staying in Maharashtra, but I do not know in every corner of Dubai or Gulf or the Malaysia or in Jammu Kashmir which are the university and for which they are best. So to know this kind of information, the education portals are required. And what I heard from this is that the PayPal, the Paytime is investing more than 29,000 billions of crore in the education sector because
Absolutely.
we need that. We need that. The complete change has been there in the market because of this blockchain technology. Entire revolution is approaching because of the digitization of every information. Digital media marketing and social media marketing has created the revolution in every industry trend. The trends are being totally changed. No one is looking for paper. No one is looking for the paper. Everyone is trying to go digitally and then trying to reach the clients. This is what is happening.
Absolutely.
So this digital dan is the real. I want to say that the digital dan is going to help us to the next to make the technology trends updated in the education sector, because education sector, I said that it is been changing, but a lot of change is required in the education sector. Now only the companies where the skill set is required, like Apple is there, the Apple education programs are becoming, Cisco training programs are becoming, Amazon web services they are coming, but that is at the skill set level. But if you are considering into the basic foundation or the basic engineering education, we are very much lacking. All the universities are very much lacking. Government of India, the NPTEL forum is there, then a lot of IITs are there. Then even the lot of IITs are considered. The scenario is not so good, not so happy the way we should
Yeah.
have been. The internet revolution has happened before almost 25 years ago. But the market, the commercialization in other products is too much high as compared to the education, and we have not reached to the zero level to the deprived families. that is deprived families. That is my concern. If you want to reach to the deprived family, the only this is going to be an ultimate platform for every one of us.
Thank you, thank you. I think Mr. Teja, he want to add some point, right?
Sir, I would like to add that
Yes.
I'm privileged enough to offer this collaboration from Yash Foundations, which is an NGO run by the youth, an Army Institute of Management and Technology, which is a business school under the Army headquarters, a support from the youth, and students from MIT University to support this great cause in a way we can. Because I feel today's youth has a lot of much to do, and we can empower the project by it. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tejas, for your support. Yeah.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. But still, I believe that this kind of NGO and this kind of organization still helpful. Even in Malaysia, we are observing many of NGO actually doing fantastic work. Not only Malaysia, I'm sure Indonesians and other country, other Muslim countries, there are a lot of NGO. They are also working very well. Beside that, I just want to add point, because all of you are highly experienced, you have very good knowledge on AI and AI related things. That World Talent Economy Forums, we are also working with some of the big companies and the organization like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundations, Elon Musk Foundations, and some of the good companies, those who are actually helping for youth development and other things. And what we observing from there, that actually I just want to share one of the specific projects with our speakers today. Even I think it will very much helpful for our students as well. Uh, this is one of the projects, art artplex. Actually it's an AI based project, it's actually an education based project. But this project, what we are observing from USA, that they are more focused not only on programming and other things, they are more focused to producing problem finder, because AI actually solve many problem, but we need to produce youth community who can find out the problem, who can find out the different kind of problem in our ecosystem. Example, Malaysia may have water related problem. The youth community objective is that they have to find out the real problem. AI will solve the modern problems. So that is the point, just we want to share. So even though we are collaborating some of the good organizations, so any point we can like explore our sessions and we can share our knowledge. We are very much open, and we are organizing conference even with International Islamic University this April. So we want to invite all of you in our conference. So I think
Thank you.
people from 100 different countries and different corporations, they will join in the conference, so we can share our idea and our strategy. By this way we can solve many problems. But I have one specific things, like now definitely in the COVID period, economy is a major challenge right now. I think India also has challenges, Malaysia also has challenges, Singapore also has challenges, even USA also has challenges. But my question is that, like, most of the people actually in the 57-58% in Asia Pacific actually youth. But my question is that how governments as well as corporations and education institutions, they play a role for this youth community. How we can work together, how we can build a better ecosystem, because of it's my observations, like we need to develop our youth community first, and they are in challenge right now. They have a lot of challenges, economical challenges, educational challenges. Even though many things, yes, startup has problem, NGO has problem, many things we can discuss. But my question is that how we can closely work together. India is a big country, biggest economy around the world. Beside that, we have in Asia Pacific, even South Asia, there are many countries. How we can work together. And one point we are observing from China, like when China developed, example, why Alibaba so big, because they give him a very good ecosystems and control environment, that the big American giant, they cannot get into Chinese economy, and Alibaba become big. But on the other hand, country like example India, even in Bangladesh, we are observing we are very much open. Any of the big giant from America or anywhere, they can come, they can jump, and they can take our market very easily. So how I believe that if we have better ecosystem as well as our education system, only then we can secure our economy like China. This is my
Uh,
honest opinion. What your
can I
opinion?
can I put a point here?
Yes, yes.
Coming from Jammu and Kashmir,
Mhm,
in taking a very personal account of the experiences I've had growing up. While I was growing up, I mean, the backdrop was terrorism, right? The disturbance and the political unrest here. Now
mhm,
consider, it is almost 3 decades that we have not seen any good thing happening here. Uh, why? Because there was a monopoly created, right? Be it a monopoly created through a political structure or whatever system there was. Now look at, you must be aware of what happened about a year back, where the whole political structure was taken down, right? Why it has actually, it has come in as a blessing in some way. Why? Because the way the new government has come in and the way they have broken the existing system has created some kind of an opportunity for people like us. Now the reason hello, can you hear me?
yes, yes.
uh, all right. The reason I share this is why, because you talk about the ecosystem, right? The challenge that we have within the country, I think, it is all about systems. It is all about existing structures that are there in a particular city or state. I think yeah, I would not be wrong to say that to do anything in Jammu and Kashmir is next to impossible. Why? Because you talk about the ecosystem, we do not even have a stable government for the past 3 decades. So how do you take that challenge into the idea that you're working, and how do you ensure that whatever you're doing, you also have to ensure that there is something that you have to I mean, the cushion or the vacuum that you have to create for such a thing, because anything can happen. Now, I am for the past almost 7 8 years, I represent a very big ecosystem of the Pashmina ecosystem, where about 1 million people are directly and indirectly linked. I represent them. The majority of them are young people. Now, all I know of a decade long experience in this territory, in this terrain, I can only say that for a place like Jammu and Kashmir, economics is the only way out. If you create a strong economic model for young people, that is the only thing. So my mindset does not take anything which is applicable in any part of the country. I cannot take that and apply it here, because
Mhm,
for me, I have to look at the basics being addressed, and the mindset of the youth is very, very important. And if we ensure that the ecosystem takes care of that, which probably other ecosystems would not even have a pride on their priority list. So the challenge here is totally different. So what I'm saying is that yes, policy decisions, sometimes the structure of the government, so how positive and how encouraging the government, those come in. I mean, those are the policy things that you also have to drive when you talk about a startup, when you talk about changing something, which is, as anything you want to democratize, you also have to go outside of your zone and think on those lines. Why? Because it is not just about the idea you're harnessing or you're guarding or you're creating. You have to go all out and do things which probably were never your cup of tea, and you have to be in that zone to ensure that your idea is guarded, because you have to drive policy, you have to take care of so many other things.
mhm. Thank you, Mr. Iftikhar. Yes,
Yes.
I know that you have meeting, so you can give
Yeah.
your concluding remarks. No problem. Yeah,
No, I
we can.
just like to. I mean, we have enough people who will talk about what one should do in terms of economic growth for us, especially the we have porous neighbors, and we have to
Mhm,
have some good policies. And as I grew up, the geopolitics has changed a lot, and today the dynamics are totally different. But generally speaking, I think academia industry partnership, more spend
mhm,
on research, GDP is larger spend on healthcare, because I come from the healthcare background also. These are the policy sides that you have to work on. And like Babar said, mindset of the youth is extremely important. To empower them is extremely important. So that is one thing that everyone should focus on. As far as the today's intention for me to get Sunita ji or Babar, and good to see Tausif and Tejas here, is to make sure that we speak a lot about digital Dana. We spread the word, and good well-wishers like yourself and everyone on the panel. We should all put our forces together, because it's our little step to do something good for nation. Just instead of saying that this is not there, that is not there, and we have a lot of challenges that we have to face. Internet penetration in India is an issue. So many issues in terms of infrastructure side. But this BharatNet is doing a lot of work in digital Dana, and they have a national knowledge repository, that network that they have created, where IIMs and all the important universities will work. So there is a wind of change, and we want to ride that, and we want to do our bit. And I just, my concluding remarks, want to thank India Global or MIT ADT. They did a fantastic job. I don't know if you, Sharif, have seen, and everyone else knows that they've done that anthem. So this is done by someone who heads the Kalad Academy there, along with the students. So his name is Adinath Mangeshkar. So he comes from the illustrious and legendary Mangeshkar family. That is, they're known to be, magicians as far as music is concerned. So we have had great support for MIT ADT, Nanne Farishte, and Hope for Children Foundation. And now Tejas joining us to help us with the student-to-student program. And definitely, we had absolutely no reach in JNK. And that's where Babar, who's an extraordinary gentleman and has done exemplary work. So I'm very happy that we're all together in this. And I urge you guys from the bottom of my heart to make sure that we make a difference to the society that we live in. So thank you very much for having me on the show. Thanks, Tausif.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Dr. Tausif. Can you hear me, Dr. Tausif?
You need to add me.
Yes.
You need
Already
to add me.
You're there. I can see you.
You're there, yeah.
Dr. Tausif. Yes, Dr. Sunita. Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay, are you? So this digital Dana will make the next will empower the next generation youth by the digital education. Hopefully, that we have a target of millions of students, as you said, that billions of students by 2023. We are distributing the laptop, around 10,000 plus laptops we are receiving. We have created a wonderful model which will reach to the students by through the WhatsApp chats, through the social media pages, social media marketing pages, and they will be entitled to pay for this particular digital dan, and they will work. We will be collaborating with a lot of education partners. We'll be trying to see that the education will be made available, is free for the children, those who are willing to be to get skilled into the next generation technology. And we are creating the program model, whether we are going to the undergraduate students, how we are going to the school children, how we are going to the PG students, how we are going to deal with the other students. And that connect establishment is the major job which will be done by this particular digital dan campaign. And I hope that the tune which is which is developed by our students of MIT VSK will reach to the every corner of the world, and they will try to spread message of this digital dana to the entire world.
Thank you. Dr. Tausif, what do you want to add as a concluding remarks for today?
A fantastic discussion. Everyone has very great views. And as Dr. Babar and Dr. Karar and Iftikhar Bhai, everyone said, if we don't embrace digitalization, we are not going to move ahead. As they say, like in the startup industry, it's the fourth industrial revolution of startups. Young minds need to be cultivated as digital Dana going to go to the ground level. And if you don't use technology, if you don't understand technology, you'll always be dependent, as Dr. Babar said. You'll always get stuck in life. So thanks to the technology now, with the mobile in hand, you can learn technology, or you can go to institutions like MIT, where they're giving YouTube lectures, in America, or even digital Dana. Everywhere, there's a lot of people in that space, and we can get connected. And if we can change, as Iftikhar Bhai changed my mind. He told me, go and pick up a business communication book which costs for 40 rupees. I still remember that. I went and bought that, and I used that communication to build my career. I still have that book. So you need mentors, like somebody to handhold you, somebody to tell you to shut up, somebody to tell you like that. And if he could change my life, and he's involved with digital Dana, that means I know for sure he's going to do some rocking book. And what I heard from Dr. Babar, it's a very great idea going everywhere. And I just give you a little background how I'm using technology. When I came back from America, I saw 20% of India's population is Muslims. And we need to connect with the Government of India initiative. Now, what we did, we created an ecosystem where we do high-profile networking events. The other is we go to minority schools, tell them to put an acceleration center. Third thing is, for transparency, put blockchain. Somebody told me, what is blockchain? For 2 weeks, I'm just reading blockchain. Even though I can't write a code, but I knew how to talk blockchain, how the nodes are, what kind of technology is happening, how refurbished mobile can be used for crypto mining. I went into detailing, because till that time I don't understand, I will not do it. For transparency, I went into blockchain. The fourth thing is, we wanted to get into venture capital. But then I saw globally, Angels Network only operate into city-centric, industry-centric, or country-centric. I said, how can you crack that? I created, from America to Australia, I wanted to do the Halal Angels Network. And I went into legal aspects, like which country can give me that access. So UK came on board. So through technology, we can talk to people. Through technology, we can outreach to people. And through technology, we can, empower people. Like in India, it's called Akashvani. From the heavens, you get the message. Now the technology uses the mobile to give you Akashvani. We can hear the Prime Minister with Man Ki Baat. We can hear other people talking about it. So why don't we embrace technology? And if we can't learn how to code, learn how to use technology. So if you're creating a website for your small business, you should not be taken for a ride. I meet a lot of businesses. The web developer keeps the domain name, keeps the server hosting thing, and poor store owner doesn't know that. So when digitalization happens, he should also know that he should be the owner of domain, he should be owner of the server, and the web developer should just develop the website, put it on. Then he should not use few technologies like Wix, WordPress. He should customize how to see the bugs. Most of these small businesses have to come into digitalization. And I think it's a great initiative of Digital Dana for students, for businesses. I think from our Halal Angels or All India Muslim Business Startup Network, and we also have a network for non-resident Indians, where we're going to do global events where Indian-centric population is there. So we are open, and every time for Iftikhar Bhai, it is just a hukum. It's just an order. It is not any proposal. He tells jump, I'll say how high I have to jump. Thank you, Iftikhar, for this career opportunity. Thank you, everyone. And
thank you.
It's a great project. I'll do whatever I can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Dr. Babar Afzal. Yes. What the concluding remarks you want to add for today?
Um, I think there's only one point, and coming from Jammu and Kashmir, I would say digital Dana is something that is very relevant during these times, in the context of this situation that we are in, as all of you might know, Jammu and Kashmir. And I think when you talk about the growth story of India, for some reasons, Jammu and Kashmir has not been the part of the growth story of India for almost 2-3 decades. And I think this initiative is one which I believe can empower young children. And I think that is what is needed. I think that is what creates a fantastic tunnel for youngsters to a better future, so that they can carve their own future through that, I think. And that is where I would urge all of you to help this initiative, and keep Jammu and Kashmir also on a priority, because there's a lot of work that is required here, and a lot of good things are happening here, and we want to participate in that.
Mhm. Thank you for joining today's sessions. I want to give thanks Dr. Shunita, Dr. Babers, Mr. Iftekhar, Dr. Tausi for joining today's World Talent Economy Forums. We believe that talent is everywhere, and we are connecting from around the world, 100 different countries, 100 corporations and university. They are working with World Talent Economy Forum. So any point we can contribute with these projects, as we will do it. And definitely, I think that this is the initiative all of the South Asian country, Asia Pacific countries, they should take this kind of initiative and projects. And by this way, we can change human life. So thank you, Mr. Iftekhar, and thank you, Dr. Babar,
Thank
for
you,
joining
Dr.
today.
Sharif.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully,
Thank you
yes,
very much.
hopefully. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Take care.